We are back again. WrestlePurists worldwide. Myself, Joe Hulbert, Ibu of WrestlePurists, better known as Backup Hangman to some of you guys, and of course, Manny the Hooper. Ibu, I think I'm echoing on your mic, I'm not sure. But yeah, man, we're back. And today, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to do the weekend wrap up. There was quite a lot going on in the Stardom 5-star GP that kicked off. Of course, there's some more G1 going on. The Ring of Honor show, of course, and Collision, of course, every Saturday. And we're gonna wrap all that up. And what else have we got? We've got the latest AEW backstage producer news, and whatever else you want us to talk about, man. We're gonna be here for the next, hour and 30 or so, just talking the graps, man. Like we do every single Monday. First things first, please like, subscribe, super chat if you're feeling ever so generous. Hit the notifications, and man, we're gonna get into it. Hope everyone's doing good. Joe Hulbert, you're the man who is you're emerging from the grave these days. You're slowly building up your battery. You're charging up. You're gonna take it light today, but I'm just checking in. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. I'm doing okay. I appreciate everyone who messaged me after Thursday's performance, in which I believe I passed out 7 different times on the podcast. Feeling better. It's the best I got right now. I'm feeling better. Now I'm excited to talk about professional wrestling and things of that nature. More specifically to Victory Lap regarding the world's champion. So lots to get into.
Yeah, man. You had quite the win this weekend, because the whole discussion we was having this week was, you're going to put out this Athena video on the channel, and it's kind of heavily based around her. It ends with "Long may she reign," and it was very much expected that she was about to drop the title by most people, and she didn't, and a lot of people were kind of second guessing it. But I'm never going to be mad at Athena being champion, and she even topped that off by winning the prestigious WrestlePurists Wrestler of the Week. So you timed the video pretty well, Joe.
I did. Well, you know me, Money. I never had any doubts personally. I was always pretty cocksure and convinced that the world champion would reign, continue to reign, and what a time. And best of all, I behaved myself when it happened. I definitely didn't get carried away with the victory lap. I was nice and level-headed and enjoyed myself. So wonderful times, man. Wonderful times.
Absolutely. Like I said, very well timed. Another win for the good guys,
Yes.
Long may Athena reign, because that was we're definitely going to get into all of that. Ibu, how you doing, man?
I still haven't gotten my voice back from the weekend. You can't tell when I speak like this, but when I raise my voice, it sounds really stupid. But I'm okay, man. I'm enjoying another day off, another Monday day off. Nice weekend of wrestling. Couldn't watch a lot of it, unfortunately. And the way things are coming now, you don't stay up to date, and you're behind so much on like everything.
Yeah.
Like you try to breathe for a day, and you turn on and it's like G1, 5-star Grand Prix, this show, that show. They're like, fucking goddamn. And it kind of feels insurmountable at times. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here with the guys, and I'm excited to get into everything, maybe find out what I need to check out, talk about what I have seen, and do all of that.
Absolutely. It was a packed weekend, man. Absolutely packed all over the place, America, Japan, and different parts of Japan as well. Like I said, there's G1. There was the Stardom 4-star GP. There was a big DDT show. And we're gonna touch on everything, some more than others. But Manny the Hooper, the big man, how you doing?
Fine. I didn't watch a lot of wrestling like I wanted to. This week I was really busy with maybe going back to school, and saw Prometheus. I saw Oppenheimer. It fucked my mind up for a whole day.
Your tweets after you saw that film. Did you see the one, Joe? And he was like, I left the film thinking, like, what have we done? What have we created?
Now, I deal a lot of my life with the idea of death and what it is already. Like sometimes I stare at night just looking at the ceiling. And then after that movie, I went to go see it late, like at 10:30. They leave the theater till 2 in the morning. And I'm just driving home. Me and my siblings didn't talk, just sitting in the car, just driving. I got home and I was like, I went on Amazon. I bought this book. I don't know if I'm gonna read it. I just brought it.
The size of that thing.
Yeah, I know. When I got it right now while we were going through the
Why
feed.
did you just have it at hand as well?
It just got delivered right now. When we were on the space, like my sister dropped it in my room, and this is probably the biggest book I've ever held in my hands. Oh, never mind. I had a Bible once in my hands. I never read that, but this is the second biggest book I've held in my hands. And the biggest book I've ever read was a compilation of comic books. So I'm looking at this and saying, fuck, what am I supposed to do with this?
The Book of the Hoop.
The Book of Hooper, bro. That's what we did.
You guys remember when Will Hobbs was carrying a literal book for 2 weeks?
Oh, yes.
Then,
oh, yes, I do.
Continue, man.
So besides Oppenheimer and signing up for school, man, it's been crazy. You know, it's been a crazy weekend for me.
That was some real shit you said there, bro. That was some real shit the Hooper just dropped at the start of this show, you know? Just talking cinema and all that comes with it. I love it. Tremendous.
Let me tell you something. I was hitting my brother's like chest all the time in the movies. I was like, bro, fuck, man, we're gonna make this atomic bomb. And then like when I saw it get tested, I looked at him and I said, bro, what are we doing, bro? I mean, like, why do we gotta let this good drop? And then I was just like Murphy the whole time, the rest of the movie, just like sitting back in my chair, like, fuck, man, I wouldn't want to drop it either. Fuck, I wouldn't want to do this either. And then when I got realized it was, I don't want to spoil for it, but it's a biopic, whatever. When I realized the bad guy was Robert Downey Jr., I just leaned forward in my chair and was just like, how's this gonna play out?
That's a pretty big spoiler. I can't lie.
You know? Locked in, you know.
Bro, it's like a sports film.
Joe's incredible. Like as every like twist and turn is happening in the narrative, he's just kind of like, oh no, this guy's fucked. Oh man, it's just like he's down 20. It's just like,
so how many takes in any sort of like content, you know? It's a shoot, bro. It's a shoot, you know.
He sees it like there's a score, you know what I mean, and like he's keeping it, and like it's halftime, and he's like, oh man, how are they gonna regroup? It's just like, the best.
Yeah, I didn't realize Oppenheimer was a ladies' man. You know, that's another thing.
I hear that there was a 15-minute sex scene. Was that hyperbole?
No, there was not, but
okay. Where did that
Did you
come
ask for a refund, Manny? That's anything you did.
No.
Yeah, as I say, you look to be, you know.
Yeah,
you kind of visibly tilted your head like, oh,
I didn't complain. You know? I mean, it was just there, you know.
Anyway, alright, so Ibu, Manny, you said you didn't manage to catch, you know, everything. I don't think any of us caught every single match on every single show that I've mentioned so far.
The last
you know, I've had kind of like a glancing view of, you know, a nice little overview of what I've wanted to see. So,
Monty,
I'm guessing. Go on, man.
Another thing that I saw during that movie, which made me think about, which was really cool. Like I have to say, because I was thinking about it this whole time. Hey man, people that smoke pipes like with a pipe like that just seemed really cool. Like everybody in that movie had like a big pipe, and I was like, man,
that was definitely worth it. Good call.
Yeah, it was just whole everything, you know. All right. So there was a lot going on, as I said. Manny and Ibu didn't manage to catch everything that they wanted to, but I'm assuming that they caught Collision because I saw Manny tweeting about it, and Ibu was in attendance. So,
yeah, I watched that. I watched Ring of Honor.
You got your one-day media pass, you know.
Yes, I did.
He was throwing it around on the timeline and everything. He was very proud of himself, you know. It was like, you know, first day at school kind of vibes, you know.
You know what I didn't do though?
Picture with the teachers. It was, you know, you
know what I didn't do though? I didn't like stick it on myself like a geek because some people like kind of stuck it on their chest and walked around with it and shit. You know, it's like that.
I think that's what you meant to do. You know.
Yeah, I'm not doing all that bullshit. You know what I mean?
It's too cool. You know.
Yeah, you know, you gotta Kenta walk around the building. You know what I mean? Look around, like, you know, like, what are you looking at? And then if someone walks up to you, you just kind of flash it out of your pocket. You know what I mean? That's how you gotta do these things. You know. big back of Hangman strolling around the building. You know?
Asking people what their finish is and
What do you break a leg out there, kid? You know, so, walking by the ROH kids. You know what I mean? Just,
good luck, boys. Give them hell.
They're like, who the fuck is that?
Man. Obviously, the thing with Collision is, CM Punk's a part of it, and ever since CM Punk has came back, the atmosphere, all the shows that he's been on has been definitely something at least worthy of noting, whether it's good, bad, in the middle, back and forth, whatever it is. So, like, how was that, most being actually there for one of these collisions, Iba?
So, when there was 3 minutes before showtime, you could just feel in the building that people were getting excited to just prepare whatever their reaction for Punk was going to be, if that makes any sense. So, like, Dash is counting us down and letting us know, like, 3 minutes till showtime. And then, like, there's a murmur, like, traveling around the building. And then immediately, like, there's, like, CM Punk chants. And then there's, like, boos fighting the Punk chants. And then, like, literally, it's, like, it's 7:58. And the crowd is fighting each other. Like, Newark is, like, about to fight each other. Like, and anytime Punk was there was just this weird hostility in the building. And the hostility felt like it was towards Punk and towards each other as well. Like, it felt like everybody wanted to fucking fight. It was, like, really funny. I felt like I was in a fucking jungle.
That real sports feel that Manny looks for.
And you know what? I'll say this. It almost feels like, like that. You know how people will say, like, they'll be at, like, a rock concert or whatever, and they're moshing. You feel like you're going to fucking die in there and stuff. Like, it's that type, it's like that type of vibe where, like, you kind of get this weird, like, lively rush, like he's out there and he just does like a fucking cartwheel, and like around me is some guy like, hey, go fuck yourself, huh? And I'm just like, all right. I'm like, see ya, Punk, and behind me 2 drunk guys like they're going along with it, like, see ya, Punk. You get really into it. It feels like a sports game. But yeah, so before the show went live, it was like that, right? And I'll tell you this never at any of the AEW events have I been to has there been this much of a disparity live to TV of anything I've been a part of. For the opening segment, when I was there in the building, I don't know how to describe what I was seeing, but like Ricky's there and the crowd is so into him, right? And like that did come up on television, but like when Punk came out to interrupt him, like the energy was just fucking crazy. I'm gonna tell you this, guys, I didn't hear a word he said. Okay, I didn't hear a word he said. At all. Like I just didn't hear. And then like I feel like I was about to I feel like I blacked out because I just started chanting his name along with like a couple of people in the section, and also in the same section there's another scattering of just people booing him, and that was just the story of the night for Punk. It was a polarizing reaction, but what makes it hard to figure out with the jersey specifically is the fact that many of those boos turned into cheers over the course of the match, and I was like, do they like him or they don't like him? Or are they just excited to boo him, but they're happy to see him and will do that? Like, it's really weird. But in the building, during the match, it felt 70% in favor of him, to be honest with you, like over the course of it. So it was very weird, very weird.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the fans are along, they're along for this particular ride. Like you said, the kind of the back and forth, people are booing one part of the show and cheer for in the next part of the show. They're just along for the ride, man. They're just there for a good time, it seems. They're making noise, and I guess that's what matters ultimately, because that's what creates the atmosphere, But yeah, man, Collision. Of course, Ricky Stark's coming out. He's feeling like the man lately. A lot of people, most people are pretty much saying that they absolutely prefer Ricky when he's a bit more brash and he's like this, Of course, he's pretty much heel now, officially. Hulbert, what are you making of this, man?
I was really delighted to see how he came across on Saturday. As someone who is a fan of Ricky but has not loved this last kind of chunk of, like Collision. I don't think he has made the most of his opportunities in ring necessarily. But just the consistency that's come with Collision and the booking credibility that's come with it for Ricky, he certainly maximized it. I thought in the segment on Saturday, I thought he felt like a big time star. And when he and Punk went face to face, it felt like a happening to me anyway. It felt like he belonged there, which is a feat. And I think it's the most significant Ricky's ever felt in AEW by distance. And, that isn't I don't say that as a like knock on Dynamite or what happened before. It's just this is the reality of when you have like a split, which it is. It's a split. It's like you need to create guys. You need to elevate guys. Otherwise, you've got no chance. And Ricky's one of the first guys. As long as Jay and Juice obviously also, but Ricky really has benefited from that. And I think he made it count on Saturday. I was really, really happy to see him do so well. I mean, I will say I think his biggest challenge is going to be he needs to figure out how to be this guy as a babyface because they still want to cheer him. So I don't think the answer is that Ricky Starks is a career heel because the people love him. He just needs to figure out how to take this presentation, this persona, and be a babyface, and that's challenging in its own way because when he turned babyface, he very much, I think, lost some of his more defining traits and qualities. So that's the biggest key for him moving forward. But for now, big thumbs up, I think.
Yeah, he probably just kind of he scales it back a bit,
Yeah.
Like kind of like himself,
He kind of limits himself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe just kind of out of worrying of how people may take it when he's a babyface, but it's just kind of grasping like that's what a lot of people really like about him,
The thing about it, guys, is like this has been historically proven so many times in wrestling where like a heel gets over, they turn him because the fans start to cheer him, and then these companies decide, okay, then now we have to change his character traits to fit a traditional babyface role. But oftentimes that's not what works. We like how you were, just stay that way. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, was the biggest example in 1999. He turned in the spring of '99 and changed absolutely nothing about what he was doing at all, right? And look at how successful that proved. I think with Ricky. Joe, you say that like this is probably like this is a very encouraging presentation. I totally agree. Like this show and specifically that promo where he was just like
the pyro. Not talking about presentation. He had like a fucking 45-second pyro.
Monty, I almost thought I was gonna die like live because that thing is hot in person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm up close. And like I didn't expect that, so I'm like looking at my phone for a second and I was like, oh, whoa, fuck. But the point is, he's talking about his fucking like Louis Vuitton and his Gucci and all that type of shit. And Joe, you're saying it'll be a challenge to kind of like have him go babyface while being like that. I don't think it is at all. I think he could just walk out there literally, and just do that and just let people cheer him. Like
I think it's the challenge is almost not so much that it won't work. It's just getting Ricky to believe people fuck with him to that degree, right? Like the people love you, bro. You can be a dick, you can be cocky. They're gonna cheer you anyway. I think Saturday would have helped him in that regard. I think.
My word to him, if I had his ear, would just be, "Don't give a shit." Like, just,
he felt cool on Saturday, man. He really did.
Yeah, and there were times recently where he did not, where he's just kind of a bit of a generic babyface. And Ricky Starks to just talk his shit,
Manny the Hooper, long known Ricky Starks doubter. I'm assuming you caught this. Has the collision affected Ricky Starks for you yet?
Monty, I don't want to lie to you, but I did not watch anything of the segments. I just watched the matches.
Of course, this motherfucker did. Oh fuck!
What did you think of the match, though? If that's what you watched, that's what you watched. That's what we're working with tonight.
It was really fun. I know people aren't a fan of these long, grueling, like growing matches, but Punk's main event tags. But I think they're so awesome. I didn't really think much about Ricky towards like the end where he had that closing sequence with Darby, and they did that crazy spear to his leg when Darby jumped, and then they did the Scorpion Death Drop, and he pinned him by holding the ropes, and that's when I figured out he turned heel and all that. But so besides all that was cool. I really like how Punk started off the match, and how nobody wanted to wrestle him, and then how he was able to get Christian in by just pulling him over the ropes. And I just really like the dynamic between Punk and Christian. And I was just so amazed about how these guys are working at such a high level at their age and all that.
Christian Cage is just one of the most graceful wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. Like, I could watch that dude. That's why the runtime didn't bother me at all. I was so thrilled to watch him wrestle. And just watching him particularly play this role, because if you watch Christian closely, he has reined his offense in as a heel to like two things, because he knows people like Christian, like they have memories of Christian and his moves and it. And like he does like the inverted DDT. He does the deal where he like steps on the guy's shoulders on the second row.
Yeah.
Other than that, he just punches guys and bumps. And he was unbelievable in this match. And I was watching it thinking, we need to do more tag matches with Christian because he's a master of that genre. I mean, his cut-offs, the way that he was dictating the ring, we got to get him with a partner in there with FTR at some point, and that goes without saying. He was just incredible here. I loved watching him, and the chance to see him lock up with Punk in 2023. Man, who would have thought, right? Like, seriously, that's insane.
When I think about it, like,
and the cool thing about it is it just felt like, because we know Punk calls his matches in the ring, so it just kind of felt like these pros just letting their instincts take over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to see the result of that is really, really cool for me personally.
I agree.
And I had no clue this match was 25 minutes until like I was told that, because when I watched it live, it felt like about 15-ish at most. And then I rewatched it on when I got home, and it still didn't feel long to me. Like I'm just in the moment with it. I'm just kind of with it. You know what I mean?
These matches don't feel long like everybody says they do. They just feel like it's like the FTR matches where they're gradually, going to their peak of a match. And like, I always think Christian's a TNT champion until I see Luchasaurus with them. And I'm just like, man, it'd be so awesome.
TNT champion, man.
Yeah, they got to fix that deal, though. I know it's good for heat, but we need to get Christian in those matches. Like him and Darby is.
Yeah,
I need to see that match. After seeing what they did on Saturday.
I would like to see after that match. Like, it was so weird because it was a tag match, but whenever those two guys were in the ring together, I felt like the other Darby and Ricky kind of just faded off to the sideline. And even though that's probably not what they want, but I was just so enthralled by what these two guys were doing, especially when Punk was punching him on the top rope and doing the 10 count. And I just like how Punk was trying to do different things to get Christian to drop his hands, which you really don't see anybody do that.
I mean, it's amazing to think, right? 2014 was when Punk left. And I believe it was the summer of 2014 when his injury happened, and it was kind of believed that both guys were retired there, right? And it's like 9 years later, they are main eventing this TV show, and like it's a treat. I try not to take those things for granted because it's really, really cool. Like you've kind of thought you'd seen the last of both guys at multiple points. So
what about the cutoffs that they were doing for the baby faces? Like what they did to Darby, which was so awesome. I saw the clip before. And I was like, that was incredible. And I thought since I saw the clip before the match, I wasn't going to be impressed by it. But in the whole totality of the match, it just blew my mind again. I just said, man, these guys are fucking good at what they do. This is just great pro wrestling.
I think, well, go ahead, Manny. Sorry.
No, I'll say that's why Collision to me is like a treat every week and all that. And it just goes from the wrestling. And I don't want to like compare it to Dynamite, but I will because it's the same company. But it's like, sometimes when I watch Dynamite, it just feels like everything is rushed, especially the main events. Like there's like no time whatsoever because I feel like somebody went long or something just happened and the main event is rushed. Then you can't really do angles after because everybody's trying to do stuff and it's always like a social media exclusive or whatever. But for a Collision, man, I don't get those vibes at all. Everything gets time. Some matches go long and they get their time, and then the main event is just what people want to see, like a long. Or not all main events should be long, but like when they are long, it just feels like that's what it should have been, and that's just what I like about Collision so far. Everything just feels like that's what it's supposed to be. Unlike when I get the vibe now with Dynamite, where everything's just rush, and now I'm starting to get the vibe. It is like two different promotions altogether. Because even with we can talk about it later, but the Bullet Club Gold stuff, I'm shocked about how over these guys are, and
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned the runtime.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, man.
My bad. No, because I cut Hangman off. I was gonna see what he wanted to say, but we can go, Monty.
Okay. 30-minute, 25-minute run. 25 minutes, and what's Cage Match saying? Cage Match telling me it was 25 minutes and 2 seconds, and I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people found it a bit long. I'd say that there was a part in the middle towards the end where it kind of was dragging a little bit. But apart from that, I'm just appreciating the graps, and I completely get why it was a bit grueling to some people.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things. It's very much a taste thing, and
honestly, bro,
I'm for it.
Even beyond taste, and this is saying that we don't do a good enough job of like emphasizing when we talk about wrestling. It's like you can be as objective as you want, but investment matters in wrestling. Like, all of the people on this screen are into CM Punk's comeback run and actively are enjoying it. If you're not into it, it's a lot harder to sit for a 25-minute tag match about his dynamic with the like. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a criticism of anyone. It's the same way as like there are things in wrestling that you need a connection to enjoy. This is going to be one of those. At this runtime, it's going to stretch your patience. I think it's fair. I mean, I was watching it. Also, how you watch it. Like, I watched this with my dad on Sunday morning. He thinks that's the best wrestling match he's ever seen. He was wild, and he goes to me, man, I hope we get one of those at Wembley. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess. Because he knows I do the match guide, so like, even though I don't rate, it pops him the idea of rating wrestling matches. He goes, that must get 5. I was like, good luck, bro. I didn't even get to tell him, But that's like, it's all that stuff counts for your experience also.
I like how Collision is like the tag team wrestling show. That's what it seems like it was. And like, we're getting these like all-star kind of tags like we were getting at the beginning of AEW, which I missed a lot. So it's kind of cool that we're seeing it again on Collision.
Manny, I'm glad you bring that up, because I think what appeals to me about this is that I'm a big appreciator of this type of traditional television tag wrestling. And I've said this before, maybe a few years ago when people would kind of hype up tag wrestling. I didn't know how to feel, because I was like, I'm not loving some of what I've been watching the way everybody else is. And I used to ask myself quietly, right? I would never voice this. I'm like, this is like maybe 2020 or something. I'm like, do I just not like tag wrestling? And what I realized is I just didn't like the flavor of tag wrestling that tended to prevail. That became the most prevalent style of tag wrestling across the medium, right? And then now this year specifically is the most I've enjoyed tag team wrestling in a long time across the board, right? And with TV tags, something about just this warm main event where good guys team up with other star good guys to fight bad guys. And then there's heat, there's shine, there's the comeback, there's peaks and valleys, and then it heats up in the last few minutes, and then ultimately you get the finish. It's just very comforting. It's very coherent. It's very easy to follow, but also very engaging. And it's why I get into it. But I could see why for some people who don't like it. I could see because it's just for them. Maybe it's just they're not used to a lack of, I guess, maybe action at some points. Maybe they might find some of it hollow. I don't know. Like, so some people aren't into just like heat segments, even if they are well employed. Some people maybe aren't into just that type of structure.
For sure.
And so that's probably why some people, it just doesn't do much for them. Some people probably prefer a more bullet point type of wrestling match, point, and condense it down 13 minutes. And I don't hate that either. I love a good sprint, But yeah, that's kind of my.
There's room for both, man. Like
absolutely.
Last Monday, Kevin and Sammy did that tag, and they did like
that was awesome.
They got heat on Sammy, and then KO's hot tag went straight into the finish, and they did like a 6-minute finish. It was awesome. It's like you can every which way can work in the right setting.
Well, Collision had one of those this week too, when House of Black pretty much just squashed the Acclaimed. Like, it was like a quick match.
Yeah, I was big on that. Absolutely.
You know what that felt to me, Joe? That was kind of Gunther pilled in that, like, it wasn't long. The incumbent champion defending his belt. That was a trios title match, correct? Right?
Yeah, it was. Anthony Bowens didn't even tag in, I think.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the incumbent champion was super dominant, right? And like in the moment, at least for me when I was watching it live, like, he was very like exciting to just see Brody King wreak havoc on the ringside, and like these guys be killers. But it wasn't like long, you know what I mean? So it was kind of a similar thing. I fucked with that.
I think it's fair to say that we all enjoy these long main event style of AEW Collision tag matches that we've been getting lately, but we absolutely can understand why, we are very aware that they are very long, and that may not be for everyone, especially in that type of style. But yeah, elsewhere on Collision, Manny mentioned it earlier, the Bullet Club Gold, and they had a tag match versus Action Andretti and Darius Martin, went about 10 minutes. Good bit of business, man. As Manny mentioned, Bullet Club Gold, people are into them, man. They're killing it. And this was, again, nice little bit of business, man. Nice little 10-minute tag match. Manny, I'll let you kind of get your shit off on this one.
This is the match where it really hit me, where I just thought this was like a different promotion altogether, because it's just like, I was like, bro, what am I watching? Like, what promotion is it? Just like they're just going around like they do, like they don't even do the Bullet Club thing. They just throw up their guns like that, and they're just the guns are just giving everybody that same side, and the way they just wrestle, like it's so crazy because I want Jay White and Juice to do their own things, but they're just such a great tag team. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, just keep them together, or I want to see them on Dynamite wrestle other tag teams and stuff like that, but. Just in this own little pocket they are. They had such a great match with it's Darius, right? Darius and Andrade. I'm not really a big fan of like their tag because I just feel like they're all over the place most of the time. But during this match, I was on their side. I was like, man, these guys, I think they found it or whatever. Like they grounded them really well. And I was really interested at the end of the match to see where these guys are going from here and then where Bullet Club Gold is going from here because they're just such a standout faction to me now. And I just can't wait to see what happens from here on out.
They've really caught on, man. They're on fire. You know, like I said, people are into them, and they've just had literally a classic tag match like last week. You know, they were out there for nearly an hour. Yeah, people are into him, bro. Jay White's a star, bro. You know, he was coming in, had a bit of a weird start where it felt like he wasn't really like focused on, and now that he's kind of got the room to breathe. On AEW Collision, and he's a very heavily featured star on there. Everyone's into it. Everyone's praising the stuff that he's doing, and this rebirth that Juice Robinson has had.
Monty, would you have rather than keep Jay White till Collision started, or debut him like the way they did?
Yeah, that's basically how I see it anyway. To be honest, Jay White debuted the same day that Collision did. That's how I'm going to remember it.
They feel like two different guys, right? That's what it just feels like two different people to me.
He didn't even feel like anything on Dynamite. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like he felt like a geek or terrible or anything. He just didn't. He just wasn't really that much part of the show. And that's it's one of the good things about Collision. Extra TV time where talents like a Jay White. Like an FTR, like a Miro, which we're definitely going to get to in a minute. It gives them room to Andrade, pretty much everyone that you see on the Collision roster. I'm sure it'll be the same with like some of the women when they get Thunder Rosa up and going on there. When they get, I heard that they want to get Athena and Willow on there a lot more, and let's see what they can do with it. But it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Shout out Bullet Club Gold. But I want to, like I just said, I want to get to this Miro thing. Miro versus Nick Camarata. 1 minute 30 seconds of just pure fucking craps, Like, just Nick Camarata comes out from, it's a jump start, jumps him on the ramp. He just looks like a fucking monster, which I think everyone, he reminds everyone just like how huge, and he just kind of looks like a bear or something, he's terrifying. He never wins, but he's got the look. Get him on TV. Someone for Miro to overcome it. But when Miro fires up, I'm in my room beating my chest with him. It's similar to see.
In the building, he felt like a superstar when he ripped his shirt off, slung it, and then started beating his chest. Like you could feel like the arena, like again in the building, like it just felt like. I was like, man, this is a superstar, man. There
was a point they put the graphic on the screen. It sounded like you guys like exploded cheering for the graphic that Miro was in action. It was wild.
Yeah. We didn't expect because he wasn't advertised. So when it said on the screen like Miro in action, like everyone's like, yeah! Like, jumped. And here's a funny tidbit. So after his match, right, they start playing an FTR video package on the screen, and that's when like the wrestler's supposed to walk and leave, right? Miro just stayed on the stage where we could see him, and he's just like gathering. He's basically grandstanding and hot dogging to get more cheers and stuff. So like, he walks into our section and he's just like, "Come on!" And the guy's like, "Ah!" He walks to the other section and he's basically putting the hand to the ear like, "Ah!"
He's so awesome. So awesome.
He is, man. He's a lot of people saying in the chat that they would like to see him get into a real feud now. He's done like 3 squashes. I'll tell you, Saturday night might have been my favourite one.
It was a hoot, yeah. I think we're at that point though.
We're at that point now. I think I don't think like it's like stupidly overdue or anything. It's literally
It makes sense to do the feud now since he's gaining momentum. So, yeah. Nick
I
Rado
just
was
wonder
awesome.
what that feud is. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know because Collision has such a small roster. I don't know who, because he's a babyface, right? Kind of. They certainly react to him like a babyface. So,
You know what's
I don't know.
weird? Joe, I kind of want to see him fight Archer again. I know they did that 2 years ago. I kind of want to see it again.
I'm always down for Archer to get some TV matches, man. I think he's great, and he's not exactly a spring chicken, bro. So and he can still go, and a big man that can go like that in his 40s in this business in this day and age is very rare to see. So I'm always for seeing the big man. Yeah, man.
Let's
I
go,
don't know
guys. Roosh just re-signed with AEW.
Who reported it?
Roosh himself.
Let me see.
Oh.
He tweeted a video of him and Tony Khan shaking hands.
Big congratulations to Manny the Hooper. Big congrats.
Big Arturo Blanco. He's done the thing, man.
I started a new chapter in my personal and professional career. People doubted I could make it. Today, I want to say I'm 100% AEW. I want to thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, fans, and thank my LFI brothers. We can now rule the wrestling world, and it's a video of him signing the deal. That's awesome.
And him yelling at the camera.
Part of me almost wishes he didn't tell us so he could run out and save Andrade, But
this is also a very beast of him. The video signing the contract,
Yeah. He's like, film it, Poppy. And
I assumed he was going to do something on Saturday because Saturday they've announced that Brody and Malachi are banned from the building. So I was kind of wondering if they were going to do something with Roosh.
His return is now imminent on one of these collisions, right? And it's like, I expected that, but part of me was just like, because there was the intrigue of like, is he signing or not? Like, what's going on here? He's fucking around. Like, it's like the point of doing that and working us is so that you can show up and surprise everybody. But then he did the work on social media and it went, okay, I signed. It's like, no.
That was the platform, brother. It was continuity on Twitter.com. He saw they were rebranded. He said, "Let me get this shit over with."
that guy's like, "Am I gonna go? What's happening? I don't know. No, I'm staying." And it's like no, that's the work.
I love it.
I'm happy he's back. I'm happy he's staying. Collision. Well, we were just talking about who to work with and what to plug in, and the cast gets a little bit bigger with a big piece, a great piece in Roosh. Man, he's a fucking beast, and I'm excited to see him on Saturdays.
Absolutely, man. Good news, man. Good news, because he was kind of like in limbo for a minute. He's just had a baby, and he's been kind of, he's been out, obviously. He's got more important things in wrestling to deal with, and there was all the talk of his contract coming up soon, and then there was talk of WWE being interested in him, and like I said, it's kind of a weird one, and we know Manny was sweating about it, and you just saw the victory lap, throws his fist up. I didn't know what was going to come out.
Yeah,
I'm happy for the big man.
I thought it was going to be something super like unrelated to anything that has to do
Tom
with
Cruise or something.
Yeah, like he's going to be like, "Let's go!" They confirmed Spider-Man 4. It's like okay,
In a perverse way, I would like to see what Roosh would have looked like in WWE. But at the same time, I'm glad I don't have to see it or hear about it.
AEW. I feel like he'd been back in AEW pretty soon, even if we've gone to WWE. To be honest, I think that would have been.
Could have got interesting over there.
Yeah.
Roosh telling Michael Hayes to go fuck himself.
Yeah. A range of things. Anyway, I want to dive into some super chats, man. Keep them coming. We appreciate them, and we're gonna try and get on a roll and get through a few of these. Karan, 200 rupees. Nearly said yen. Appreciate you. Thoughts on this Punk situation? Ricky just went heel against him. Crowds are booing Punk, but him turning two would hurt Ricky. That coupled with MJF being faced now, for now, makes this a real conundrum. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, man, because obviously you've got the Ricky situation and you've got like the Samoa Joe thing that obviously, he wants to still do. The Jay White thing that you assume he wants to still do. The MJF thing with him, is he a babyface at the moment? What's going on there? How long is he going to be stuck with Cole? A lot of moving parts. I don't actually quite know what the answer is without actually sitting down and mapping it out,
I generally like a clear babyface heel divide, but I think thus far the Punk thing is has really worked for being
Yes.
entertaining TV, because I think he's capable of adjusting, and until the matches don't work because of that crowd dynamic, I'm absolutely for him walking that line. And I think the matches have absolutely worked. Like the biggest kind of negative response he got was the 8-man. And that was maybe the most fun match he's had yet, I think, after coming back. So
That's what I'm saying.
I see
I
people,
really like it personally.
I see people compare this to the Cody situation and all that. But the one thing with Cody, though, is I feel like he never leaned into any heel aspects of the thing. He was just like a baby face, just doing stuff while everybody hated him. But at least with Punk, man, he leans into it. If the crowd's booing him, he at least, like, I guess, tiptoes around each line. And I was alive for the John Cena stuff. I wasn't really, like, I was a kid, like, just, like, not knowing what the fuck was going on. But, like, I feel like this is the closest thing I'm getting to, like, the John Cena thing where people would boo him and cheer him and all that, even though he was, like, a baby face. So.
It's also, it's very key the way they frame him on commentary. Is they don't frame him as the hero. They, like, Nigel regularly calls him like the most divisive character of a generation, the most polarizing personality, the most controversial figure. That's much better than a guy just being like, he's actually our hero. Like that, I think that's a big part of why it works for me personally. But I don't know.
Yeah, they're very aware of what it is. You know, the people that need to be anyway. So it's, you know, as long as Joe said, as long as it's working and it's helping the matches as it is at the minute with these crowd dynamics, and keep it rolling, bro. Zayd Nadi 499, appreciate you as always. Cody is such a pro wrestler. All my pillars are bad bitches. Brian, Punk, Rome, Cody. What are chances for WrestleMania 40? Any insider info, Ibu?
What is he asking you specifically? Like,
any chances of
give me the whole
seeing
card.
any of those in the main event of WrestleMania? I guess I don't know.
Bryan Danielson and CM Punk will not be at WrestleMania 40.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, no. What am I saying? No. Danielson. No, his deal will still be no. Regarding
having a meltdown live on camera, you know. Appreciate you, Ibu.
Actually, you know what? There are going to be a couple AEW events coming up where, you know, people are going to be in the building with other people, and this business is unpredictable, but still, I'm going to say no. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are going to main event Mania. And I saw someone throw this out, Joe, today earlier, and it popped the shit out of me. No, it was Monty who tweeted this. It was a quote from Cody in his interview where Cody basically said, like, man, I'd move heaven and earth to get Arn back, basically. And I kind of pumped my fist. I was like, oh, man. Because I don't know about you, Joe. The Arn part of Cody's presentation always popped me because it was just so funny. You know, him holding this, like, football, like, play calling.
Yeah, the play sheet, bro.
The play sheet.
He comes in and he has like a picture of Solo Sikoa with an X for it. Like,
Yo, listen, just picture this,
and no, he whispers behind it like that.
Yeah.
Laying out the plan, you know.
Roman's on the one side, and Heyman's just like, Heyman's like, you got this. You're the tribal chief. You did it before. You did it a year ago. He's the same guy. You're better. And then on the other side, all you hear is Arn like, slow the game down. Slow it down. Take him down to your pace. And then you pick up the pace, and then you push the pace, and then you get him where you want him, Cody. And he's just like nodding. Oh my God! If Jim Ross was still on commentary, right, and it was the old Jim Ross, Joe, he would have been analyzing Paul Heyman and Arn Anderson's coaching and game plans. Like, he'd be like, Heyman clearly has Roman Reigns scouted and prepared for Cody Rhodes' Cody cutter there, and he's just fucking.
I love that dumb shit, bro. Like, it's like blood and guts was this week, you know, last week, and you know, like in war games where like you'd have the team, like instead of having the individual entrances, like they'd be on the outside and they'd be like strategizing. You know, like, I love that shit.
Paul Lee was speaking of Paul Lee.
Exactly, man. Yeah, 100%.
With Arn Anderson, ironically.
Bro, War Games '92, where like the Dangerous Alliance, he calls in like a team huddle and shit, and he's just kind of like, Rick Rude, you go in next, and he's just kind of telling the guys who goes in next and shit, and deciding the order. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
who's gonna do the coin flip? And he's just like, you know.
I'm a sucker for it, man. I genuinely am. Yeah, Collision, we had a The Acclaimed, they lost their trios total match against House of Black. Billy Gunn, he took the boot off, man. He's packing it in, Joe.
Well, I don't know how. When I was watching it, I kind of got the sense they were going to do a deal where they try to like convince him to come back for one match. I still think that may be the case, but I did see a couple of sincere like social media posts about it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Cool
the
deal.
guns one. I thought it was an angle too, but then I saw the guns tweets and I said,
Yeah,
maybe this is the end.
I love the way that. I mean, I've talked a lot about kind of I get frustrated sometimes with the way they've plugged the House of Black into like familiar or traditional match kind of layouts and formulas, and it's like they're not the trio for that, man. Like they don't need to work the same way as everyone else. They should obliterate guys, and that's not a discredit to the Acclaim. But when a team lost against the House of Black, it should be like a feat. Look at those three dudes, like they're killers. So they should be treated like an all-star team, and I loved what this did for them. And we'll see what's next with Billy.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to kind of jump around here because obviously we've already spoke about the main event, so that's I don't think we need to touch too much more on Collision unless anyone else got anything else to say.
I have one thing to point out. So in all my previous experiences at AEW shows live, and I've been a number of them now, it was one of those vibes when you go in there that like there's almost this feeling that if you were to like bring up WWE, like you'd get stabbed potentially, because like it was just that type of like vibe. And for whatever reason, it's kind of hard to fully explain why. I felt this time, Joe, when I walked in and there was a crowd of like WWE fans that happen to know what AEW is and like be aware of it and like watch it. If that makes any sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I say this because, between the numerous Bloodline shirts that I was coming across, between every single commercial break, there were people going, yeah. Between all the various Judgment Day based chants during the House of Black match, there was who's your I think either who's your mommy or who's your poppy. There were Rhea Ripley chants. I don't know how much of this made it to TV. There's Rhea Ripley chants. There was Dominic chants. And there was like one more that I can't remember off the top of my head. But there was that. During the Miro match, some guy next to me screamed, Rusev Machka! And I was just like, okay. All right. The guy to my left was wearing a certified G shirt.
Jesus.
The point is, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, is it just Newark? Is it the type of people that Collision specifically attracts? Or is this just a result of the WWE being hotter and having a bigger imprint on wrestling culture as a whole? And I don't know which of these it is. I don't even have a take on it. It's just an observation that I saw.
Feels like probably a combination of all three, right? I think Collision will attract a different fan, but they are also.
It usually is in these things, isn't it?
In the
LA
North
Knight is huge. I mean, my goodness, like everyone. I think anyone who's watched any wrestling is aware of what he's doing right now. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting trend to kind of keep track. I mean, they're in Connecticut this weekend, as Manny was telling us before the show. So,
some people think it's a regional thing. Some people think it's a regional thing. Dude, I'm going down the escalator, and like some guy kept going. Like people kept going, "Whose game is it?" And so everyone else can do the L.A. Night. Like that happened repeatedly throughout the entire evening.
Mm-hmm.
Athena's check the ROH taping. Athena's match. It's just people doing So
that sounds great.
Not really. But
The last thing I'm going to add about this Collision part is after I was watching the Acclaimed House of Black match, I need to see some Daddy Ass and some Brody King action, man. I was just watching them chop and throw them throwing some punches and chops, and I was like, "Oh, this is." I booked this for my E-Fed. I said,
I mean, since the since the news has obviously just broke with Rush announcing that he's re-signed with AEW, Andrade, he needs his backup, bro. He's having a ladder match next week for his mask, which got set up with Buddy Matthews, but. Obviously that's kind of been the question throughout the past few weeks with every pretty much Andrade segment that's been on Collision. Is like, when's he going to get his help? People are hoping for Rush. We know Manny was. We get Rush in there. We get whoever else you want in there. We can get, Drilistico. Would probably be who it is. Manny, who would it be? It can't be Dragon Lee. He's Rey Mysterio's latest prodigy. You know,
If it was me, I'll get El Hijo or Dr. Wagner Jr. You know, that's what that'd be me.
Has anyone contacted you, Manny, about being
Black
a third man?
Taurus. You know,
Black
Just
Taurus.
get him
So
in.
I'll get another big fucker. You know, if it was me, man, I'll no sell any Brody's shit, bro. I'll just take it in the chest and walk him down, bro. That's what I would do.
Walk him down. But yeah, man, I'll definitely be trying to see some version of the LFI with Rush and Andrade at least versus the House of Black soon.
Sorry, Monty. Has Preston Vance ever interacted with Andrade?
Probably, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Before Andrade punched Sammy in the face, they were setting up a weird feud with him and Preston Vance, if you remember.
Oh, that's right. It'd be kind of funny interaction if he's hanging out with the LFI guys and he looks at Preston Vance and says, "Who the fuck is this guy? Like, how did he get here?"
Yeah. But yeah, man, like I said, jumping around, we're going to go to Death Before Dishonor next, because obviously that was on the Friday, so we're going backwards a bit through the weekend here, but a few more super chats. Going to keep them coming. Jacob Donnelly, $5, says that he likes Kevin Kelly's commentary, but he personally thinks that Nigel and Riccaboni have better chemistry. Curious if you guys agree. I don't even think that's a slight on any of the names involved, because Riccaboni is like... Riccaboni is an animal, bro.
I think Ian, especially we've seen his in just 2 weeks, and it's been obvious. Ian is better for US TV because he gets actively excited, and I like the way Kevin calls wrestling, but you do need to have a little bit of enthusiasm with the grabs. I think on national television, Kevin struggles with that sometimes. So I think Ian and Nigel's the team.
Yeah, like Ian and Nigel. It just kind of got awkward though when they brought up his wife.
Nigel's, boundaries, brother. It's what it is.
Yeah. Shout out Ian Riccaboni, best in the game in my opinion. Trust the Process 34, $4.99. Appreciate you very much. What would AEW look like if Vince booked it? Example of an AEW Dynamite or Collision card under Vince McMahon. Okay, I think it'd be too much of a challenge to kind of map out a card right now, but everyone knows Vince has his favourites. Like even in current day WWE, Vince definitely has his favourites. Some more well known than others. But who do you think would be like Vince's faves in AEW? He's already stacked him once.
He wouldn't know that, bro. Either.
Yeah, different guy. He is a different man now.
Yeah.
Satnam would have a regular role on television.
Yeah, Satnam would have worked with Omega at this point.
Bro, I'd be into that.
Absolutely.
I like the weird shit.
The Gun Clubs would be the main tag team instead of Jay and Juice.
He would have done something weird and unproductive, like turn Darby Allin heel, and then in his heel turn, shorten his name to Allin, and then he would have removed the paint, and then Darby would have had a weird suit or some shit, and then slowly Allin is the manager of a guy. Bear Country would be on TV in
who would be his top guy?
Oh man,
I can see Vince cutting Hook's hair because he probably wouldn't get it.
All jokes aside, it would have to be Dragon, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd probably go to Brian, wouldn't it?
He'd be the one guy who still eats.
He'll make him stop wrestling the way he does, so you can't be doing that no more.
Probably make it work, bro. He's done it,
He literally just did it. He just takes less head bumps,
Poor Claudio, bro.
Wardlow,
Poor Claudio.
Bit of Wardlow.
I feel like Wardlow. I feel like Vince midway would just kind of I'm done with this guy. Get him out of here. He's out of my
He'd have him dancing on TV.
Yes, literally. Yes.
Imagine Vince coming into AEW buying it and seeing what Claudio's doing. Say no. What are we doing? No. We can't be having him look the way he does and just neuters him right off the back. You never see him again.
The thing is, man, Claudio cooked in the Fed. He just cooked in 5-minute bursts in mid-card spots. So
very different role for sure.
Yeah. So he wrestled fairly similar. Just he didn't get to do anything expansive in his last few years. So he would see him and be like, "Oh, good to see you, Cesaro. Good to see you, pal." And then he's gonna put
the two times he did. He did get to do something expansive. Obviously referring the Mania match versus Rollins and the title match versus Roman. He absolutely killed it, bro. As expected, because it's Claudio.
all-time great pro wrestling talent, bro. Like, I mean,
He's fucking great.
he's like the least complicated wrestling talent who people for some reason feel the need to debate and like pick apart. It's like, yeah, he's not a great talk. I think his promos have actually been pretty good in this last run. In this AEW run. But like, it's not complicated, bro. He's Claudio. He's a freak.
Vince would see Jericho and be like, he would like what Jericho's doing. I think Jericho stays relatively the same. Funny enough, I think a lot of his stuff is relatively the same. I think the funny thing about Garcia's transformation into this long pants wearing dance guy is this is what Vince, because the thing is, he's doing it and it's meant to be ironic. You know what I mean? Like this transformation is this kind of ironic middle phase for what's eventually going to be his evolution, right? But with Vince, it's funny because Vince would have seen the Garcia that was getting pushed last summer and would have turned him into this like unironically. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Vince would actually make of MJF?
He'd love him. He'd love him. He gives you TV time, a lot of TV time as a promo.
He would tell Max like, I don't know about your old friend there, the little short, long-haired guy. I don't know about that one. What else was his name? Adam Cole. And maybe he should just manage you. You know.
I think it's fair to say that Max would drive Vince nuts, though. Also, like it's like them putting stuff together.
The thing is, Vince like, I just think you should do this, and then Max would make it fucking work, and then like Vince like, this way I gotta trust.
It'd probably pop him on some level.
Oh man, he would actually. Yeah, him and Max would be this weird duo where like that's his guy, but he also like yells at him a lot and they fight a lot. So there you go. I don't know about the Elite, man. I don't know about that one.
Oh, they're cooked.
I think it'd be fun.
It's what we didn't even mention them.
Yeah, like, he's like, why even bother? You know.
You probably look at the Bucks. Like, oh, fuck, man.
Maybe you could like get the stat sheet out, showing some T-shirt sales or some shit. You know.
He'd look at the House of Black and be like, I got a couple ideas for Julia Hart. And then, yeah.
I suppose $5. Appreciate you. That House of Black squash match reminded me of Brody versus Cody. And man did Buddy need that. Bro had a rough week. I mean, you know, it depends how much he's bothered by it all, you know. House of Black squash matches to do the thing, man. The mean out there, you know. This was might quite like your typical House of Black squash, but, you know.
I think we did forget to mention one guy Vince would like is Penta, but I think if Penta was around, he'll turn his stick even higher. We might even see him take a bump ever again if he's in AEW.
He changed his name to Cero Miedo.
Dwight.
Oh my God.
$1.99. Ibu, we're still on for the massage appointment.
That was never booked and it'll never happen, Mr. Howard.
Phantom FTW, £2. Appreciate you very much. Rouge didn't want to work with Brian Pillman Jr. Yeah, man, that's another story as well. Like, courtesy of bodyslam.net, Cassidy Haynes, shout out him. He did a report earlier, basically saying what's the actual wording of it? Basically, things are, you know, en route to being in place for Brian Pillman. Yeah, deals reportedly in place for Brian Pillman to join WWE. You know, it's just he's in the latter stages. Apparently, he's looking at moving to Orlando at the end of next month, and he's going to start getting in the PC. You know, Brian Pillman Jr. Interesting one. Bruce didn't want to work with him.
I was just going to say, sources from NXT said to me that he's expected to report in the Performance Center in August. That lines up with what Cassidy Haynes said. I have no take on this, but I want to know what Joe Holbert's take is on Brian Pillman Jr. in the Performance Center.
I think they're going to give it a real try. I think they're going to... If there is any feasible world in which Brian Pillman Jr. becomes an actual wrestling star, we're going to find out, because they would like nothing more than to make Brian Pillman Jr. a thing. They would like nothing more, and they will try with all their might. Whether he's up to that or not, I have a pretty good idea he's not, but we'll see. Joe, I think they're going to really try, man.
Am I insane? Is it insane for me that like the idea of like an expansive like 20-minute Pillman Jr. main event epic on NXT, like, it's just like really funny to me. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, he's not. Look,
Pillman Jr. and Dragunov, you know.
There was definitely a point before AEW where like I definitely could see why people were excited about him, but he's like fundamentals inside the ropes have plateaued in a way that is kind of insane to watch. But maybe he gets in there with old Lord Tensai, whoever, and fucking maybe comes out there looking better. I mean, I don't know.
We'll see how it plays out for
Wait,
him.
what do you think?
Y'all right now? I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna watch my first ever NXT show when I get the graphic of Brian Pillman Jr. versus Dragon Lee. I'm gonna need to see what that looks like and what happens. And I'm gonna ask Monty if we can go live on Twitch, man. I need to see what this is going.
That's good content. That's good thinking, Manny. Good thinking.
You fired up for this, Monty? You ready for Tony D and Brian Pillman Jr.?
I'm pretty much like yourself, to be honest, but I don't really have much of an opinion on it.
Yeah.
I do think they are going to give it a go, you know, very much like Hulbert said. And when he makes his NXT debut, I'll provide my usual scouting report, and I'll keep you all updated, you know.
My prediction is he's gonna get slotted after the first push just kind of like fizzles a little bit. I think he's gonna settle into a decent Chase U role.
Bro, Monty, I need to see this Brian Pillman Jr. Dominic Mysterio match. I need to see what that looks like.
No, you don't, brother. You don't need to see that. None of us need to see that. I promise.
Science experiment.
Yeah, that's better for your imagination. Trust me.
Yeah, since we're on the the ingoings, the outgoings, the changes of roles, etc., etc. There's been a lot of movement backstage, AEW, a lot of people being made producers, and etc., etc. Obviously, there was a very unfortunate situation with BJ Whitmer as well, so that was an outgoing there. But the latest person who's been working as a backstage producer is Orange Cassidy, and he was also credited with producing one of the big Rampage tag matches, the one with Big Bill, Brian Cage,
Seidel.
Yeah, a lot of people. It got over very well with a lot of people. It was good stuff, man. So obviously that's the first thing that we know he's been credited with. But yeah, man, it's another hat that he's wearing backstage. Orange Cassidy, he's a producer. What do we make of this? Just quickly touching on it.
A man of many talents.
Yeah, I think it's always impossible to know just how well a guy will adjust to this gig. But if you were to make a kind of list of skill sets you'd want a potential road agent to have, I think Orange ticks almost every box. He's so versatile. He has rock solid fundamentals, but has got over doing something that's very innovative and creative and different, which means he's going to have a super open mind to different ideas and let people be creative in that regard. Mm-hmm. On paper, he's like the perfect candidate for the gig. So I'm sure he'll do a hell of a job. That was his first. If that's the match we can put his name to. That's a hell of a start because that one was a hoot.
Yeah, I've never spoken to Orange Cassidy, and I obviously I'm not there to witness what he's doing to be able to speak with any authority. But I second everything Joe said. And the thing about it is, Orange Cassidy is like a much smarter wrestler than people sometimes give him credit for. He's not just a gimmick, and he's also not just like a spot monkey type of guy. He can do the creative stuff because he has a lucha libre background, right? And so, like Joe said, he'll let people be creative. But I think he, at his very core, understands what centers pro wrestling from a feeling standpoint. I think that there's a heart to what he does. It's why he's such an excellent babyface wrestler. It's why he knows how to garner sympathy, and he knows how to work. At his very core, he knows how to work. And so I do think it fits AEW because it's like
he knows how to sell.
That's the funny thing. It's like Orange Cassidy. You don't think that, right? It's just some schlocky gimmick. No, that guy can fucking wrestle, and he can sell, and he can work, and he gets the game. And so I think it almost fits AEW that they have all these exciting, explosive, high-flying young wrestlers, right? And he can allow them to do those things and be dynamic, but he can also kind of stress to them, like, you do this here and do that there, and you structure your matches this way, and this will maximize the emotional investment that people can have in your work. And so, go off to a good start, and I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope this works out for him and everybody involved.
Manny, you got anything else you want to throw in on the Orange Cassidy producing?
Tony's really gonna squeeze the well dry with this man. He has his
man
working overtime. He hasn't worked.
He's earning that salary, bro. Absolutely. But yeah, speaking of AEW producers, it was revealed by, let me just double check, I'll get all this right. Brian R. Solomon. He's an author, wrestling book author. He recently wrote, I believe it was like some point last year, and it was a book on like the life story of the original Sheik from like, not the Iron Sheik, the original Sheik from like the fucking 50s or whatever, like really old school. Really well received book. I remember Dave Meltzer, I think, either reviewed it or even had him on like an episode of Observer Radio. I remember him kind of doing his like press run when he was releasing that book, and basically he's the real deal, real author, not the bullshit we do, He's writing books and stuff. But anyway, he revealed that when he was doing an interview with Bret Hart for his latest upcoming project on his next book, which I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, he was interviewing Bret Hart for it, and Bret Hart revealed to him that he offered to agent in AEW, but AEW just wanted him to be a manager, like similar to like Tully. And, nothing ever came of it in the end. And I just found this really interesting because, like, one, like, of course, like, I'd assume that a lot of, AEW fans would like the idea of Bret Hart agenting some matches for some of the favourite wrestlers, but also just, like, when all that talk was going around with, like, FTR, like, I'll get Bret Hart in, etc., etc., it was Echo throwing me off. I saw Joe.
Bro.
Yeah, bro. Jesus, man.
Wait. I was echoing. Is this still doing that now?
Mute yourself.
No, you're not echoing now. It was weird.
Where was I?
Talking
You
about
said
how
when
weird it is.
yes,
FTR, the sketch.
Yeah, when all the
right?
FTR Bret Hart talk was going on, it was kind of like everyone was kind of fantasy booking that sort of stuff, and it never came to fruition. We don't know why. It seems like Bret Hart was actually down with the idea. A lot of people thought that he wouldn't be up for like traveling or even interested in that kind of role. I don't know what the actual details of it are. Whether it was something he would be doing on a weekly basis, whether he was asking for ridiculous amounts of money. But all we know is that he did indeed offer to be an agent in AEW, and he hasn't agented in AEW. So, an interesting one, Hulbert.
It is. I think we're a little short on details to give a really firm take on it, because I think, look, I'm aware of how much money Tony Khan and co have, but if he doesn't want to be on screen and wants to exclusively be an agent, there has to be a limit in that regard, right? Like I'm sure he could help. I do think there is actually room to explore his limitations for that role in 2023, to be totally honest. And I love Bray. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. But, that's a very particular job. It's no different to a great athlete is not necessarily going to be great as a coach. That's a real thing. And I think there are questions, obviously, that we can't answer about Bray in that regard. But I think it's hard, and without knowing what kind of money he was looking for, what kind of schedule he was looking for, I think it's very difficult. Because, again, if he's not going to be on screen, it's like there has to be a limit. I mean, they have a lot of guys backstage. Now, Bret obviously he's Bret, but I don't know. I think it's hard to have a firm, absolutely big mistake or correct call Tony Khan.
100%. It's impossible. It's literally impossible for the reasons that you listed. But, you can't blame anyone for, like you said, Bret, it's Bret at the end of the day.
Sure,
Bret is Bret, so no one would blame him. No one would have blamed Tony for at least giving it a try, even if he did turn out to be a terrible agent, which, to be honest, I very much doubt he would have been. But you never know. As much to the point Joe said, not every great wrestler is a great producer, and not every football player is a great coach. It's a weird one, man. It's definitely a weird one. There is a lot of people doing producing and stuff though backstage in AEW. It seems like everyone seems to rotate it, taking turns, mix it up around, So, it would be interesting to find out how those negotiations actually went. Was Bret asking for stupid money? Was he trying to just do it from home, which I think is a very real possibility? So I believe he's still got some sort of deal with WWE. So, how would the merch deal work with AEW, etc., etc.? So,
Honestly, I think he would. I think he would have hated that job.
Yeah, I do too.
I think when you're
3
when
weeks
you're,
in.
I think
Yeah.
when you're a great wrestler or player and you're just coaching, put in terms mediocre players or mediocre wrestlers or whatever, and they don't want to do what you got to do, and you're just like, fuck, man, why can't they just get it? It's I don't know. I don't think he would have been long for that job.
That's the other thing is, I think he would have like organically wound up agenting only for a handful of guys, and then that makes the price even more difficult to navigate, right? Because it's like if he's only helping out like 10 guys on their matches that he digs and he's into their work. Because let's be honest, there are a lot of people in AEW that I don't think Bret would have any interest in even. Like I don't know. So it's a weird one.
You know what's the funniest thing about this story? Thinking about like potentially, after just imagine this, Joe. Bret has ultimately a 4-month stint as an agent, right? And then the shoot interviews that happen afterwards, where he's just because how Bret is on the shoot interviews, and he's just kind of like,
Ray Phoenix would be cooked.
So here's the thing: they throw names in it, right?
He doesn't get it.
I just think QT Marshall's an idiot. I think he doesn't get the business. He doesn't know shit about it, And I told Ray Phoenix about my brother Owen and how he used to sell, and I told him about Owen, and he had no respect for me or my business or my brother. They're all idiots, to be honest, besides FDR and CM Punk and some guys. But it'd be incredible,
I want to know what he has to say about Tony Khan, like in one of those shit interviews. Like,
Tony would be so nice to him. I think
he would be so nice to him. He'd be so funny.
You would.
I think he'd have I will say, like everyone goes to see FTR thing for obvious reasons, but hearing what he said about Kenny in the past, I think that would be like genuinely intriguing how those two minds would connect because they are both like wrestling geniuses,
Canadian heroes, bro.
Do you remember when Kenny first came back before the all-out suspension? Remember when he was doing this whole thing of like, I'm kind of rusty and I'm kind of beat up, but I'm trying to like figure it out. I it's kind of sad. It's kind of unfortunate that we couldn't see the rest of that run because I was really interested in that.
Yeah.
And like, can you imagine Kenny doing that with Bret agenting him? That'd be really interesting.
Absolutely.
100%. Who knows? It might become a possibility again in the future. Especially with AEW Collision.
Super Solid. That's exactly what it's like. Because he Super Solid said it reminds me of when Tim Duncan became an assistant coach for a year. This person quit after a year because he hated it. I think that's exactly what happened to Bret.
Yeah.
You never know. We're gonna get to Ring of Honor next. Like I was saying earlier, we're gonna kind of jump around the weekend, going back to Friday, Death Before Dishonor. Obviously, the big thing that we will want to talk about, I assume, will be Athena versus Willow Nightingale. Ring of Honor Women's Championship. Of course, that was the main event. Aussie Open, they're back. Mark Davis recovered from injury. They are back, and they are also now the ROH Tag Team Champions. So good for them. Hopefully, they can pick up where they left off because they were having a great year, man. Kingdom, Lucha Bros, Best Friends, they all did the thing. Yeah, man. I don't think we need to dive too much into it because it was Friday. I'm sure it's been reviewed back to front by all kinds of channels by now. Dark Order versus the Righteous and Stu Grayson. This was, a lot of horse
I wanted to go in this match and fucking hate it, bro. But halfway through, I said, man, these guys are trying, bro. It's
real spirited effort.
They what's funny about this? Like Dave Meltzer, for example, right? I listened to him talk about it this morning, and seemed like he didn't like this at all. And it's crazy because I'm not. Right. He just didn't seem like he just didn't like it. He just thought it was like a bunch of like derivative garbage that wasn't as good as the War Games match from 2 days earlier. That was kind of his feeling, and he thought they worked hard and stuff, but like it seemed like he just wasn't a fan. And he's like, really? But I only bring that up to say that like I'm not the Dark Order guy on this channel at all, right? But I watched this and I was like,
who is?
I kind of thought this was like
Charlie.
Fun beyond any taste.
Not at the moment, mate. Not at the moment.
So that's what I'm kind of getting at here, Joe. Like, number one, I thought these guys worked really hard, and number two, I was like, this kind of rules.
Yeah, it was a hoot. I thought it was a hoot.
I thought it kind of ruled,
You can actually feel like they generally hated each other. That's what I got through the whole vibe.
Yes.
I did bust out laughing. Though. I almost fell out of my chair when they put out the board and it only had like two thin lines of barbed wire, and they said, "Who the fuck made this?" Like they just
it was proper, just like they were just going for it. You know, they just
Yeah,
went
yeah,
for
man.
it. They're like, we're gonna get
Absolutely.
over live. We're gonna work hard to do so. We're gonna kill ourselves in the process, and you will care about this match during this match. And I think they achieved that. And I did get pretty into it, to be completely frank. And I'm not saying that all of a sudden now I'm like this big Dark Order person, but for that match, I thought it was actually like the best match of the show to that point. Actually, to be honest with you.
Dark Order can go, man. Like genuinely, it's not the bell to bell is not the issue. It's whether like you're into their presentation, or more specifically, let's be real, is whether you're into the emphasis on them that's sort of emerged in the last month or so. Like,
Right.
I have no, if genuinely, if the match at Wembley is Young Bucks versus Dark Order, I have absolutely no doubt that match will be good. Like, there's not even a part of me. I think that match will be tremendous, but it's more whether you're into it is really the question. So,
Yeah, that you're right, Joe. Because like, could I like? Is it feasible for the Bucks to agent a Hung Bucks Dark Order match that's going to get the Observer 4.5? No, like it's super. Like I could easily see that actually.
yeah,
But that's not like what some of these people have been like kind of debating and stuff like that.
right.
But for this specific match, I do think it was fun. Yeah, Monty doesn't seem like he's quite as amused. I thought it was a fun match, to be
Bro,
honest.
that fall that Sue Grayson did, where he
Grayson
just
fall.
went limp. He just went limp midair. It just felt like that. Bro.
That was terrifying, bro. It looked like it was it was like a stunt body or
I
something.
I was 2 more moves away from calling Dutch a beast. I have to completely admit. I was like,
Man, let's all calm down a bit.
He doesn't mean black hole slam. You know?
He's kind of real.
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
I saw the Black Hole Slam and I was like, oh, hold on.
Monty, I know you skipped over the 4-way quick, but I just want to say real quick about that match is the Kingdom fucking rule. I hate that they're just on ROH exclusive team. I say it almost every week, and they should be on Dynamite or Collision because they fucking rule, bro. I think they were the glue to that match.
Yeah, man.
I liked Shibata Garcia.
Really
I enjoyed that. I thought
I'm glad you did. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Shibata versus Daniel Garcia, pure title. You know, and it's always good to see Shibata out there, man. It's just nice, you know. And you see him in the press conference after, and he's getting his phone translator up, thanking Tony Khan. It's cute, you know. But yeah, Daniel Garcia, nice spot for him. Holbert, what did you make of it? I know you just briefly said that you liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. It was yet another kind of case of Garcia's wrestling brain just having fun, really. I mean, he's not in 2023. It's not been about Daniel Garcia having great matches. I don't think this was a great match necessarily. It's more watching his performance and the way that he plugs in his antics and so on and so forth. I just love watching it. He did a wonderful job here in the dance, and the deal was getting over big time. So this was a treat. I just enjoyed this. I think it was a great match. I was very good. But more than anything, I just enjoyed watching it.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
I don't have much to say about this match.
Yeah, there you go. No, we don't need to deep dive into every single match anyway. Like I said, it's just kind of nice to see Shibata right there. Garcia in a good spot. Nice little match.
I do find interesting though about the Shibata thing though. It doesn't seem like he's with New Japan, even though he is with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
I don't know.
makes me sad.
Yeah. It's a weird one. ROH World Title, Claudio Castagnoli versus Pac. This was a very mani-pilled match. So, Manu, talk us through it.
I need to talk about the promo that Claudio cut though after Blood and Guts, bro. He came yelling backstage, "Where's the bastard? I need the bastard." He just kept repeating the bastard nonstop, and after that, I was oh man, I can't wait to get this pissed off Claudio on Friday night. And when this match happened, bro, we got a pissed off Claudio. He just beat the living shit out of Pac and made it known that he's the world champion, and that's what I fucking love about Claudio. He's awesome. And the way he just was throwing him around and whatever hope spots Pac was getting, it kind of made me nervous because I was just like, because I wanted Claudio to lose at first because that means he can be on Collision and Dynamite more in my head. But the more the match went along, I said, oh man, Claudio, just put this motherfucker away, bro. We need to take one for the good guys. And just he was just awesome. This match was, I thought this was the best match of the week until the main event. But man, Claudio as a world champion is fucking incredible.
I thought it was the best match of the weekend on Friday until the main event on Friday. Yeah, man. Good shit.
Yeah, I mean, I just need Claudio to do more. He's awesome, and this is a hell of a run he's on.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
he's an animal, bro. He's a beast. Anyone got anything else to add on Pac?
It was.
That's Claudio. I thought it was great.
They played it correctly, right? They didn't have any real
Mm-hmm.
build. There was no reason to work a traditional world title match. They just had like a insane meathead match where they both just went nuts, and it was awesome. As a big Athena fan, once because I only watched the main event live. When people were telling me about this Claudio Pac match, I was like, oh no, I hope this is not going to backfire this main event spot. Thankfully, to Manny's point, the main event was going to go one step further, which we'll get to now.
Absolutely. Willow Nightingale challenging the almighty Athena for the ROH women's world title. A lot of people went into this expecting it to be, like Willow's moment where she finally topples Athena. But it wasn't meant to be. They had a absolutely spectacular main event. A match very much worthy of being the first ever ROH women's pay-per-view main event. Lived up to it and then some. One of the finest matches in the TK era of Ring of Honor, to be honest.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a special main event, man. Like I said, Athena got it done. And, Willow, man, she had the people feeling for her, and we thought it was the time for her, and Athena broke our hearts, man. And it wasn't in, for me at least, it wasn't in, this is shitty booking wrestling kind of way. It was it was heartbreaking in the way it was meant to be, the way that it's meant to feel when, a beloved babyface just can't get the job done, and Athena makes a pass out, and that was it, man. Willow breaking our hearts. This was a special one. Ibu had you in tears. I know you spoke about it yesterday, but do you want to just kind of throw out your brief points and before we let Manny and Hulbert get into it properly?
This match did move me to tears. As Manny once eloquently stated, real hoopers sometimes make you cry real hoop tears. And Israel brought up a great point last night, which is that when women's wrestling reaches like a really, really high level, sometimes it just hits different. And when we were trying to explore the reasons as to why that is, I think we kind of nailed it, which is that sometimes when you just see people who are, I don't want to use like marginalized in the wrestling sphere, when they just have opportunities that don't come by quite as much, right? And they're not put in big spots quite as often, right? There is this kind of underdog thing you're watching with them. And so when they triumph and when they kind of pull through and produce something great, you get really happy for them personally. And so that's kind of why I was happy for these two women. Two black women in the main event of a Ring of Honor show doing the dance. It felt like the main event. It didn't feel like it was just it felt like that was a deserved main event to close the show. And so I thought it was spectacular and it was epic and it was hard hitting and honestly a triumph for North American women's wrestling. It was the best women's match from any Tony company this year. I loved it.
Yeah, pretty comfortably for me as well, to be honest. But I know you was in your bag writing about this one, especially following the Athena video that you dropped over the weekend as well. A very big weekend to be a part of the Hulbert Alliance,
Yeah.
Talk to us about it, man. Talk to us about it.
It's funny you say that because it was so, I just couldn't capture with words what I felt watching this match. I was very frustrated writing my review of it. And honestly, I've rewatched it multiple times, and while I enjoy it every time, I've still yet to, you can never quite recapture the initial thrill of watching a match like this. I thought this was one of the most moving matches I've seen in years, to be honest. I did not post a picture of it because I'm not Ibu of WrestlePurists, but I actually also was crying by the end of this match. I was crying. I don't know. There was just something deeply moving about this, and the passion it was wrestled with, and the heart it was wrestled with, and what makes it special is the tribute spots in the middle of the match. Look, no one's going to accuse it of being subtle, right? I mean, it was they had a point they wanted to make, and it was about a love letter to the women of Ring of Honor's past. But what makes it special is that Athena was part of that, and she was there 10 years ago, and she's been in the industry long enough to see it change and see women's wrestling change. And now she's in a position where she can actually play a part in that change and give these young contenders that she has in Ring of Honor a chance to be in this spot. And they're all, Willow Nightingale is just extraordinary. what a story she has been this year. I mean, she has gone from being a prospect that we all like the potential of to the real deal and one of the best workers in the world. And I say that, I mean that. I really believe that. She's special, man. Look at her work in these matches against a range of opponents now. This is not just an outlier. This is where she's at. She's very, very special. This was the crowning moment of Athena's career thus far. And she's had a great career, but this is the best work of her career. And this is the match that people will remember. And that's a beautiful match to remember because she took that opportunity and both of them used this spotlight to show love to others, which is, I think, part of why it was such a moving match. It doesn't get any better than this, man. This is why we watch this stuff. It's why we write about it, talk about it, tweet about it, debate it, whatever it may be. This is pro wrestling. It's a beautiful thing when it works this well.
Absolutely. Manny, this was, as Hulbert just eloquently put, this was the match, This was it, brother.
I was scared about what Eva was going to quote from me from my past. But yeah, that was very eloquent of my quote. But I gave this match 5 stars. I thought this was phenomenal. I thought the way they worked, the way it was structured. I thought this was one of the best matches of the year. It's in my top 10, and it's the second 5-star women's match I gave since Julia and Tam Nakano's hair versus hair match. So I kind of want to know where it goes from here because this was the third one, right, in their trilogy.
Yeah.
So I mean, Willow's down 3-0. So let's see if she can come back like LeBron James.
2-1, bro.
2-1, whatever.
Bro said whatever, like there wasn't a big difference.
She won the Owen, man.
That was the entrance Athena had. The
Wait,
point
was the
very
Owen?
much was the semi-final of the Owen. She beat Athena. She broke her win streak.
Shit.
The point very much was that Athena was giving up and trying to bully Willow. She just had to beat her now. It was serious. She knew that wasn't going to work anymore. So wonderful.
It's very
Beautiful.
concerning. I forgot about the Owen already.
Yes, very concerning. Beautiful pro wrestling. I think it's fair to say. But let's do some super chats and let's fly over to Japan. Let's take a trip over there.
Do we have a correspondent there waiting for us?
We got Anna. Well, national, but she was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she managed to catch the 5-star or anything, but I know she was watching some Stardom shows. I'm not sure.
Don't worry, we'll throw it to Parker. Parker's over there.
He's always there in spirit, Showtime Spurs $2. Jack Perry to LFI. No comment.
No need to ruin a good thing,
Big Ben's 97 $4.99. Appreciate it. Ibu, Cody slurping aside, how can you credibly say Cody should beat Roman when business is booming? Roman shouldn't drop till business starts declining.
No. First of all,
WB's blaming the decline on Cody.
It's not just SmackDown and Roman's show that's drawing on Cody's end on Monday Night Raws. They're like selling out buildings, and that's with his face on the marquee. It's with his merchandise being the primary merchandise pushed. He's the face of the other half of this operation that's doing extremely great numbers and being very successful. He's still a quarter-hour mover. So this idea that Roman should just hold it forever, like that's not how wrestling works. To where it's like, oh, we're hot, so just the guy on top should just hold it forever. Not as a heel.
Yeah, you don't want it to decline either.
No,
you want him to drop it whilst it's still, hot. Like whilst it's still peak. Not at maybe not the very very peak because that's when you'd think let's keep rolling with it. But you don't want it to like die out before you drop the belt. So yeah, man, Cody obviously is, the pretty clear candidate to be next up. So we'll see if they actually do pull the trigger at Mania 40. But that's still a long time to go, That's still a long time to go. It'll be very interesting to see where like Roman goes after Jay. Like obviously there's the solo stuff. We'll see like what they actually like do with that. How much to follow through with it. Like by the time Roman gets to Cody again, like is he going to be completely by himself? Like while we like, how does that all look by the time we get to Mania? It's hard to kind of make those sweeping guesses at this point. But anyway, Darren Walker £5, always appreciated. Any wrestlers from RH or Dynamite you'd like to see more move to Collision? The two in the... Come on, man.
Go on, mate. Go on.
The Kingdom. The Kingdom on Collision. Claudio on Collision. Roddy on Collision. Even though he's on Dynamite, just move him over to Collision.
I mean, his last match was on Collision. But,
Wait, what? Oh, yeah, it was.
Fuck, man. Greek Foley 499, appreciate it. What are your top 5 favourite storylines, programs in pro wrestling currently? Any promotion? I say let's just try to think of 5 between us, because so we're not here for like the next 25 minutes. I'm going to throw out the easy one, Bloodline.
What was the question? What are your top 5 storylines in pro? No.
I will say what we got here. I guess Eddie and Moxley's still going, right?
Yeah.
100%. I'll be picked back up when he gets back in the US. If he's not,
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're wrestling animals like Hanare and Shingo,
Yeah, I didn't mean it. To be clear, folks, I didn't mean it as a criticism. I just meant like with the G1. Does it count? I've slid it in. There you go.
All right, so that's 2.
MJF, Adam Cole is good stuff.
Yep. That's
3. Manny,
Hooper.
you gotta come up with something, brother.
Punk versus the World.
Fair. And then 5th, Rouge re-signing with AEW.
Man. I'm going with the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club. I'm throwing it in there, man. Like, it's not at its peak right now, but we did just get Blood and Guts and Kota Ibushi.
I assumed that
what
was
you want from there.
So, No, the program was really good. I just assumed it was done.
Yeah, same.
We'll
It's like over. So.
No, it's just finished. Not just, and it's gonna spiral off. Okay, then Kenny and Don.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mr. Pedanti. Greek Foley again. Appreciate you. $9.99. Bill Simmons does an NBA trade value ranking for most valuable assets. Would you say? Who would you say are top 5 most valuable assets in wrestling? Can be wrestler, executive, personnel, age, and all factors to consider.
That's a great question.
Roman Reigns.
There's so many pilled. It's crazy.
So, I want to give you a real quick beat. I tried doing this once. I think I pitched to Monty a while back that I was going to do something like this, and then I just wrote the title, and then I wrote like a paragraph, and I said, "Fuck, I can't do this shit, bro," and I gave up on it.
So Ibu said Heyman. Ibu said
Heyman is in
Heyman.
There.
Cody Rhodes. Fuck it.
Yes.
Unless anyone's taking it off me, I'm saying Cody Rhodes.
Are you kidding me? That's not even a debate. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
I think
Punk, right? Yeah.
I love Punk, but his age and the injury start, I don't know. Top 5?
Oh! I forgot. We're thinking
valuable assets, bro.
Punk.
I forgot. We're thinking about this in sports terms. And
bro.
If this is the NBA,
Cody
right?
Roman.
If this is the NBA, Punk at this point would, because of the age, would get traded for like draft picks or something.
Man.
Cody Roman, Paul Heyman.
I mean, I feel like
MJF. I'm gonna put MJF in there.
What about Rhea? Rhea's like 26 years old. And she's
Rhea, Becky. That's where I was kind of going like WWE female, like a Rhea, a Becky Lynch, maybe.
I think because Rhea's younger and she's red hot right now. I think Rhea.
Yeah, Rhea. Yeah, same to be honest. It's not even because Becky's not doing the greatest like storyline or anything at the minute. It is like the age thing with Rhea. Like she's still so young and she's literally like she's a legitimate like real superstar now. So
he hasn't done much, but. I'm going to throw in a New Japan wrestler. I'm going to throw in Tsuji. I think Tsuji has it.
The future.
Yeah.
I like Tsuji a lot, man.
All 4 of us, or at the very least Manny and I, if wrestling actually worked with like NBA parameters, will be so bad as GMs. Like the guys that Manny and I would pay. Like we should be making like 50 mil a year. Like, Supermax.
Supermax contract to Renderita. Yeah.
I probably would have gave Rusty and Mbappe contract. I said, here you go, man.
Me giving the machine gun Carl Anderson $20 million a year.
Monty, I'm gonna keep it a stag with you. The first move I'm doing, if I'm the owner of a team, I'm paying Nick Khan.
Yeah,
Nick Khan. Some people said he's top 3. People said he's number 1. Nick Khan's he knows business, bro. You may not know the business as we call it, the business, but he knows business and he's made Vince McMahon a lot of money and the shareholders a lot of money, and he's going to continue to do so, it seems. So we'll go with him. But like I said, I want to touch on Japan. We've got like 15 minutes before Raw starts, so let's talk a bit. Let's talk a bit of G1 first. Let's talk G1 first. Henare, man, Manny, you why Manny just looked up shocked that I'm trying to talk to him on a podcast was.
Sorry, I was looking at the floor. My bad.
Okay. Henare, bro. You're you spirit animal. The man that you relate a lot to him now.
I booked for my EFED for my first pay-per-view versus Totally Own.
Totally Own.
Real main event. Is that what we're calling it?
Yep.
The Manny the Hooper Promotions World Title. Totally Own and Henare, He's not Aaron Henare anymore. He's Henare.
All caps, no lower caps.
All caps, bro.
He screams into the screen looking like a dragon.
Oh, he's a beast.
At first, at what was his first match with Mikey Nichols, when he's just grunting after every hit, I thought it was so ridiculous. And after he got color and all that, I was like, oh no, this is just next level stuff. I was behind the times, and his match with Eddie Kingston, though, I thought was the weakest of the three so far. But
bro, that show was fucking miserable. I'm sorry it was that, but watching that show was actually genuinely challenging for me. And
Which one?
This was yesterday morning, right, Manny? The Eddie match was, I think.
No, I think it was today, this morning. Oh wait, no, I think it was just
Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. Because anyway, Saturday night, Sunday morning. But the lack of atmosphere for that show was that Coughlin Zack Sabre Jr. match. That kind of popped me on paper. I thought they might have a fun time, they have a grappling match.
That sounds good on paper.
Good Lord, it was not good. It was really rough. It wasn't a big house, and they was not into a lot of it. To be fair to them, their main event was David Finlay versus Evil. So I probably, they made more sound than I would have. That was a rough show, man. It really was. It's, the concern we had going in is a real thing. I think it's very obvious thus far. There's just too many guys in there that don't need to be in it. It's a shame.
Yeah. And what I've noticed is these nights are up and down. I heard night 5 was really great, and I haven't gotten to see it. But when I look at these cards on paper, right, there'll be one card where I'm like, all right, there's about 4 matches I want to see here. Then the next night, you're like, I don't want to see any of this. Yeah. It's tough. And now that I'm actually behind the G1 by a couple of days, now I'm in a position where now that I have to catch up, I have very little interest in watching the shows in full. And it based on cage match and the things I've heard and just some of the matches up on paper, I don't really want to watch some of the stuff there. Yeah. So it's unfortunate. I do hope when the field thins out that it gets notably better, because there have been flashes. There's been flashes, but
sure,
it's just a diluted and bloated field that didn't need to be this big, and it's affecting the shows. Yeah. Plus, like you said, the houses aren't great for some of these shows too, and you see the empty seats, and they're not making that much noise for some of this stuff.
I'm actually the only match I saw. That's what I'm doing now with the G1. I'm just picking and choosing what matches I want to watch. I can't.
That's why, bro. That's why.
And then I'm not a completist like most people are, but I haven't seen the Shingo Ishii match because that was the other one I want to see. But
good stuff.
It's kind of I'm kind of shocked by how much success Eddie's having in this G1. I think he's 2-1, right? I think.
Why are you surprised by that?
He's a push guy in AEW, man. He's
Yeah, I guess makes sense because he has the belt too. I just thought he would have lost more.
In fairness, I just said he's a push guy, but he's at a weird year, so I
understand. We're still early as well. He's got losses.
He'll end up around 500, right? He'll end up somewhere in there. I think 4-3, that range, probably 3-4. That range.
I think he gets to the next round.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he gets to the next round too.
Sweet. Him and Finlay.
Wait, who else is in that block again?
Shingo, Finlay.
I think it's between him or Shingo that's gonna make it out the block.
I think it's possible. he gets out the block, but
it's possible. I wouldn't write it off, but I'm not expecting it.
I think he's gonna do it because he has the belt.
You know what though? If Tony just wants him back ASAP, then maybe he doesn't get out. He wants to fly him out maybe a week early.
Yeah.
Set up your shit.
What else did we have later in the week with the G1? Ospreay versus Kenta. I mean, Kenta, he give it a bit of effort. This was a nice match, and you don't get to say that too often about Kenta these days, you know. But it's Will Ospreay, who you say a lot about. I don't really have anything to say about it. I just kind of wanted to give Kenta a little bit of a nod. Kaito Kiyomiya versus Shota Umino.
I heard that was great.
This was really good. Okada versus Taichi, that was really good. Sonata versus Yota Tsuji, which I also thought was really good. That was a pretty good day.
That's the fifth night, right? I believe.
If Eddie and Hanare was night 6, then yeah that was night 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, he won.
Yes.
Bit oversaturated, bit too many wrestlers in there, but you know there's some gems in there. We've rated quite a few of the matches from last week, so if you go to the WrestlePurists ratings on the website, you'll see what we think's worth checking out. What else we got? We got the 5-star GP that kicked off in Stardom over the weekend.
Yeah, tell me about this, Monty.
Really good show, bro. Top to bottom, just a really good show. You know, it was one of those things. Like, I caught up on it late, so I was kind of only expecting to kind of like watch like 3 matches. Ended up just kind of scrubbing through the video, and ended up landing on one of the matches earlier on in the show, and I ended up just kept watching the next match. Like, I wonder what the next match is. Oh, fuck it, I'll watch that, you know. And it's just ended up just watching about 75-80% of the show. Mariah May versus Azumi, that was good stuff. Utami versus Mina was good. Suzu Suzuki versus Shuri was really good.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
Dude, the pace in that match was extraudary, wasn't it? Good lord,
bro! It's just the level over there is just so much higher. You know, like I said, like from top to bottom, bro. You know, like
that match went 11 minutes, and it was like breathtaking. Like when it ended, it was like I need to smoke. You know, it was insane.
Yeah, I mean. Okay, we got Julia versus. Please forgive me if I mess up the pronunciation, but
Suzu Suzuki.
No, not Suzu Suzuki. That's easy enough, you know. Versus Shuri. That was what we were just talking about, brother. Julia versus Saori Anu.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah. I know that the last name pronunciation is Anu because I double checked this. I just I kind of mess up on the first name, but anyway, Julia versus Anu. This was great. They went time limit draw, and you know, Julia's just she just has like this vicious streak in her, you know, where she just kind of like wills these matches into like up to the other level, you know, and Anu was right there with her. This was probably arguably the best match on the show. It was just a really good show top to bottom though. Either that or Shuri versus Suzuki.
The finish for this was immense, right?
Yeah.
If the tide finally turned, she had her and then boom, bell. And you actually got caught off guard. That was great. Absolutely.
Yeah, this was okay. Dragon Master Adam in the pronunciation.
Yeah. Sorry, Ano.
There we go.
He kicked ass. That's what I know. He kicked ass.
That's what matters.
That match,
you know,
rocked, that was like some Hanson Funk shit in the middle of it.
I don't need to know. I don't need to know the names. You know, I don't need to know the names. I'll be watching them again. You know, but yeah, 5-star GP. Genuinely, out of all of you know, the G1's been going now for 6. You know, they've had 6 shows. I think this show was better than every single G1 show so far. Like, by some distance as well, not just like, oh, maybe this was like, you know, a bit better than the best out of G1. I thought the opening day of the 5-star, like, genuinely like cleared any day of the G1, like, by some distance. And you know, I don't think the G1's been like terrible. You know, no, like I know we've just kind of like give it some pretty fair criticisms, but there's also, like we just said as well, like there's some gems in it. There's some matches that we like. You know, we've all popped for like Hanare, like emerging as this. You know, like there's things going on. Like we know the Young Lion stuff. I don't know, even Young Lion, the Musketeer stuff and the Kaito stuff, and you know, there's good stuff going on. But it's 5-star, mate. It looks like we could be onto some magic.
It seems, I mean, it's worth noting, like to your point about the G1, it's like I'm still enjoying it. I think the reason we're being critical is it so easily
High
could be better if
standards.
they, yeah, but if they just, if they had those same standards, it could so easily be better, right? Like we saw this problem coming. It's a shame, but nonetheless.
Yeah, man. Shout out to 5-Star. Shout out Stardom. They're just a really good fucking promotion, But Ibu, I know you mentioned earlier matches you should check out. Honestly, you wouldn't be misserved just watching the show.
I quote tweeted our ratings post about it, and I was like, I guess I gotta check out the Julia match. People in replies like, just watch the show, bro. And I was like, wow.
Mayu versus Suzuki as well, bro. Another really good match on the show. It was just good shit, bro. If you put it on from like Mariah May versus Azuma
to the end of the show, like,
no, just pretty much the rest of the show, But yeah, Mariah May, man, she's finding her feet very well in Stardom as well. So shout out to her. Shout out to pretty much whole Stardom roster that was on that show. To be honest, just dangerously close to slipping into becoming Jamie Ross, But you know what? Obviously, we just spent the past 10 minutes talking about the G1 and Stardom, but they will do a much better job of it tomorrow night on Dungo Live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on this very YouTube channel. So if you are in to your Puro, Joshi, Stardom, New Japan, All Japan, DDT, they're going to get into that. Takeshita had an absolutely great match over the weekend as well. Yeah, I wanted to kind of get into that a little bit, but we don't really have the time to, and like I said, they will do a much better job of it tomorrow anyway. Chris Brooks is the KOD Openweight champion, so shout out to him. I've always been like, I've always thought I've always been, I don't want to say like I've always been a fan, like I watch him every week or anything, but I've always been like appreciative of his work,
Really?
Is that the main championship or what?
Yeah.
You're the KOD, yeah. You're a Chris Brooks fan?
He's doing his thing. He's doing like, it feels to me like he's doing like what he does, what pops him. He'll do like the DDT little fucking dojo shows and just fucking he does his thing, bro. And obviously he's doing it well because he's got the main title in DDT now. So, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish up with some super chat. So this is your very last chance to get some in these last few minutes as we fly through these. Cast the Shell 499 says, with Rouge resigning, what is your ideal scenario for him? International title, tag run with Andrade, savior of their TNT title scene. Love WrestlePurists. We love you too, Cast the Shell. Appreciate you very much. If I had to pick out of them, it would be the tag run with Andrade, probably.
Yeah. I think you could also, you frame it more as an alliance, right? They do big tag matches, but they can equally do their own thing.
Yeah.
That's the way I would go.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's where I would go.
Oh my god, them versus fucking Bang Bang Gang.
Bro, them versus like
FTR.
a lot, bro. I'd watch them. I'd watch them wrestle the guns. Just kick the shit out of them.
Dax versus Rouge would be a scene, bro. That shit would.
I was gonna
that
say
shit would explode.
I was gonna say, imagine FTR versus them two in a hair versus hair match, and I said, "Oh no, Dax doesn't have any here, so he can't work out." Maybe the mustache.
Puts his mustache on the line.
Yeah, that would be funny. Hair versus
serious
mustache
shit, bro.
Serious, bro.
Real.
Yeah.
Dax looks like a pervert without the mustache.
That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy,
Bro, they run that FTR video package, and they reminded me that's what they looked when they came in. I was like, damn, that was a tough time, man. I don't know what we put up with that.
Custodian Brian Pillman Jr., the regular, live chat. Not as regular as he used to be. We've been missing him. But he's here because he's in the headlines with the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate
change that graphic. It says All Out. I mean, oh no, that's a pay per view.
Never mind. Go on.
Shut up, man. $4.99 Tuesday nights will be custodial nights. If Dom can be North American champ, give me the NXT championship. Let's fucking go, Ibu. I got you with the scoots, big bro. Pop.
That's some luck, Brian.
We need our plugs, bro. We need our scoop plugs. Dunmaz, $5. Could you imagine he shows up in NXT and continues his budget Kenny Omega shtick? That's of course as well about Brian Pillman Jr. I mean, I don't think the PC coaches would allow that, brother. Showtime Spurs $5. Women's wrestling is the underdog babyface of pro wrestling. We love women's wrestling. The Pro Wrestling Podcast, shout out to them as always. Whoa, indeed.
True.
Yeah. Plethora 1C, $1.99. Appreciate you. Anderson Cross on SmackDown. Chances of Hulbert right up.
0 chance. That match being booked is an active attack on my happiness. And I
understand how you feel that way.
I'm very mad, yes. And multiple people messaging me that match graphic. I deserve better.
Joe, I was gonna do it too, but Elon smoked me. I was gonna send it to you. I swear to God, I was gonna send it to you, and it wouldn't let me.
Of course. Yeah, it makes sense.
Joe, this one I'll throw you
Yes,
this
mate.
one. Willie $1.99. Inui versus Fulton prediction for tomorrow.
Fulton is tremendous, but you can't back against Inoue. He's
an
a
animal.
monster, bro. Yeah. Like, I think Fulton's he's a live dog, but no, I ain't booking against Inoue, even with the weight move. So yeah, I got him for sure.
But yeah, man, like I said, we kind of rounded up the weekend. We touched on the G1. We touched very, very briefly on DDT. We talked about the Falls Derby. I absolutely recommend everybody checks that out. And of course, don't go live tomorrow night. We talked about ROH. I'm just making sure we've ticked everything off. Thinking out loud. Collision.
Yep.
And yeah, man, there weren't anything that crazy on Rampage or SmackDown. LA Knight didn't win the 4-way, but Ibu definitely covered that yesterday. What are they cooking with LA Knight? One of my best thumbnails that I've done in a minute.
That was a funny thumbnail. That was a funny thumbnail.
But yeah, man, we're going to get out of here. We are going to get out of here. I'm going to go and live tweet Raw and make sure that our coverage writer is available and doing what they're doing. And I'm going to enjoy Raw, man. And shout out the Judgment Day. What else? What else do we need to do? Any other plugs? We got any other plugs? The Athena video. Watch that shit.
Video. Yep. Match guide. The usual.
You can follow me on X. That's about it.
No,
Shout out
man,
Cody Rhodes for helping Raw draw the biggest crowd in the history of any Tampa wrestling show.
Absolutely.
This is a real fact. This is a real fact.
If anyone on the way out as well, please like the video. If anyone knows the actual book that Brian Solomon is working on, please just drop it in the comments because he's good at this shit, brother. He's good at this thing. So anyway, don't go live tomorrow 7:30 p.m. Please go and watch that if you're into your pure Japanese wrestling. And thank you for watching. As always, we appreciate all the likes, the subscribes, all the super chats. Always appreciated. Please hit the notification bell on your way out. And again, make sure you please like the video. And we will be back tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. And then Wednesday, Dynamite watch along, etc., etc. Peace.